Okay, hello friends, it's Ms. McKenzie, your K-12 district teacher librarian with week 2 of our 3D paper sculpture technique design board. So last week you should have worked on rolls, fringe, pleats, and tabs. Okay, and this week we are going to create spirals, a square prism, slits and slots, and a chain. Okay, let me switch my camera and we will get started with that. Okay, so here we go. So we saved half of our space last week to create our structures. Again, we are going to create, this is last year's board, but we're going to create a spiral, a square prism. There's a square prism. We're going to do slits and slots, and this one is another, all of these are super useful for house building challenges, and then chains can be really functional as well. So the spiral, you should have gotten 4 more slips of paper. We're just being mindful. We've got to fit everything in here and try to label it. And, you know, your name should be on these somewhere as well, so they don't get mixed up in your classroom. So let's just start. I'm going to pick the orange. So for a spiral, we first need to make a circle. So I'm just freestyling a circle. Okay, for our younger friends, you can freestyle. They don't have to be perfect. Okay, you can set your scraps aside. And yes, that will fit on my board. So then you just start on the outside. And for our younger friends, this is great for practicing your scissor skills. So I'm just slowly wrapping around in a circle to the left. Okay, spiraling away. Here we go. Spiral, spiral, all the way into the center. Okay, it looks like a spring. There's my spiral. And I'm going to choose, you can choose to glue it down by the center. Sometimes it's kind of fun to glue it down by the outside and then try to make it stand up a little bit. So I'm going to grab my glue stick and put some glue around the outer edge. But you can do inner edge too, doesn't matter. And hold it down, stick it down. Okay, there's my springy spiral. I love the spiral, it's fun. Okay, spiral. And I will label it S-P-I-R-A-L, spiral. Okay, the next one I think we're going to do, I'm going to skip to the square prism. Okay, so again, I'm trying to make sure I can fit everything on here. And for a square prism, we have to form 4 sides. So what I did is I took my one sheet of paper, I folded it in half and then folded it in half again, because that's going to give me 4 equal sides. And then I'm going to, oh, and I actually need a slightly bit of a longer edge, and I didn't account for that. One of these edges has to be slightly longer because we need a little flap to glue it so it sticks together. That'll do. It's not perfect, and that's okay. All right. So 4 edges with 1 little flap to glue over on the side. And that is our prism. And you will definitely use a square prism for the house challenge. Okay, so I'm just gluing that. Oh, I should have did a bigger flap. Engineering design process. You tinker and explore and you think about what you would change next time. We don't stress out about making mistakes ever with makerspace projects. So I'm going to glue that down. I might have to reinforce it a little bit after the fact. Okay. Prism. A lopsided square prism. That's okay. So prism is, well, we'll say square. S-Q-U-A-R-E-P-R-I-S-M. Square prism. So we've got our springy spiral, square prism, And okay, the next one we're going to do is this funky structure. Okay, right here, slits and slots. So we're going to do a triangular prism, cut some slits in it so we can cut some slots in it so we can stick some little sheets of paper on top. So I'm going to pick up this sheet of paper. I'm going to cut off a little top hunk because these are going to be my little slots that I stick in the top. I'll see if I can do 4 of them. And then just like the square prism, we need to make a triangular prism, which is going to be 3 sides. And one of the sides has to be slightly longer because we need a flap to glue it together. So I'm just going to eyeball it this time. There's one side. Okay. There's my second side. And here's my slightly longer flap. So I have 1 side, 2 sides, 3 sides with a little flap to glue it together. Okay, it does help if you have a good size flap for gluing. So let me get that glued down. On the inside. There we go. Again with the glue stick. What a marvelous invention the glue stick is. You got to hold stuff together sometimes to make it stick. And then plop it down on your sheet of paper. Okay. So there's my triangular prism. And then now I cut 4 of these little chunks of paper. So I'm just going to take my scissors and cut 1, 2, 3, 4 little slots. And then I'm going to stick my little things inside of them. So if I were building a house, maybe this structure would be good for like fencing or a sign in front of the house. Use your imagination. Okay, and we got to label that. We'll call this one slit, S-L-I-T, and slot, S-L-O-T, slit and slot. Okay, our final one is going to be a chain. And let's see, you can cut the width however you want it. I will say it does take a minute to make the chain because you've got to hold them together. So I'm going to go the long way today. Why not? And I may only have a couple of links, and that's okay. So you cut some links. You can go long ways, short ways, doesn't matter what size, and start your first chain and hold it together. Okay. This is just like making the roll we did last week. And you'll hold that one together. And then if it's dry enough to hold on its own, you'll insert a sheet of paper and start your next chain. Okay, and hold that together. Let it dry. You can insert your next one when it's ready. And there we go, and just keep on going. Okay. Just for the sake of time, I'll just do one more. Okay, that's hanging on there, I think. Whoop, one almost stuck to my finger. Okay. And then, let's see, we're going to attach it however you can. Probably just plop a chunk of glue on and attach it to your sheet of paper however you can. There we go. Okay, and I will label that one chain. C-H-A-I-N, chain. Okay, how much fun was that? Let me switch my camera again. Okay, so all of the paper sculpture techniques are actually super useful. When we're doing makerspace challenges, we're practicing the engineering design process. So these very simplistic structures with paper can lead to bigger and better things. All right. And teachers, if you find that the makerspace activity went very fast this week, you can include an additional little challenge. So I would say This week we worked on spirals, square prisms, slits and slots, and chains. So using those 4 structures with paper from the scrap bucket in your classroom, try to make a tower, or try to make a cat, or come up with some kind of object that students can create out of those 4 structures just to practice them. Okay, and next week when we see you all, we will begin our haunted house design challenge, and we're going to use all of these 3D techniques. Okay, have an excellent week, everyone. See you. Bye.